Welcome, EVO Nation, to the 2025 summer sales season. Holy cows, we're already starting.
We're here.
Yeah, and it is rolling.
We're not just here, we're a month in.
Yeah, things are rolling great. Dan, how's the company looking?
Company is wonderful. Overall, this last week we did 442 installs.
That's amazing. For April, that is killing.
Yeah, huge start. Like one of our best starts ever.
Yeah. Leading the way, Detroit had 195 installs, which is impressive. That's breaking all sorts of records. It's excited to see where they might go with that team. They're dialed in. They're working. It's amazing. Every night I'm getting text messages at 11:30 and they're meeting up to train rookies that are bageling. So Detroit leading the way with 195, Lafayette with 90, Mobile 46, Homa 35, Shreveport 32, Nashville 27, and Baton Rouge with 12. So all big numbers because a lot of people are still coming out.
Yeah, we got a lot of reps still, getting done with school, getting done with some other things, and then going to be rolling out there. So those numbers are just going to grow by sheer volume, but also the expertise that they start to gain.
Yeah. So, which leads us to dinner goal, Dan.
Beautiful. So how dinner goal is going to work for you new guys that are just joining EVO this year? Dinner goal, the goal is set. For example, we're going to take Detroit. They did 195 on the install chart. What that means is next week, they need to do 196 installs to hit dinner goal. And so that'll give them dinner goal. They'll get $18, and that'll go to the manager. And you guys can figure out something super fun to do with it. Mike's always done some creative stuff with dinner goal rather than just doing a barbecue, which is fun. But you can figure out something else that you guys might want to do as a team together as well.
Yeah. So beat your last week's number by 1, and everybody that checks a credit qualifies for dinner goal. So if you had 10 reps that did it, you get $180. So real simple. Be creative with what you want to do with it. You can save it up and do something wild or go to dinner. It's fun. So use it as a thing. Keep it on the board. I know a lot of offices will have it tracked each day to where, hey, they're pushing Saturday night to get those last installs in. Top reps of the week to get 442 sales. You got a lot of reps that put in some big numbers. So Trey Wood is back, and he led the way. 13 installs.
Incredible.
And then, so many accounts. And then we have 4 tied for 11. We got Jet Vance, Zach Richardson, Brian Davis, and Jansen, all with 11 installs on the week. Nate Barbieri, Jude Torres, and Marquez, and Cole Hymas, all with 10 installs. And then lastly, we have Jackson Powell. He snuck in there with 8 installs and a lot of MMR because that
$615 in MMR because he loves finance.
Like he likes to finance. You probably noticed, though, Jude Torres, he was a rookie in the top 10. So rookies can work their way in the top 10 overall. But Dan, take it away with the top 10 rookies.
Top rookies just coming out the gate slinging. Jude Torres, of course, topping the chart at 10 installs. Gavin Olmeyer at 6. Zach White at 6. Nathan Spear at 4. We got Tyler Kemp at 5. And Darius at 5. And then Malachi Sanders with 4 installs. So, yeah, you got to still put up some heavy numbers to get on that top 10 chart for the rookies. Tyler White with 4. Jake Crapo with 4. And Joseph with 4. So some huge numbers for the rookies as well.
One thing you probably noticed when you're looking at the leaderboard, Nathan Spear was number 4 with 4 installs. And a lot of guys were like, well, how did that happen? Nathan went out and financed 4 for 4 of his deals this week. His paycheck's $2,400. So there is a way to work up, even if you're not hitting the high numbers, you can get the pay up there. So make sure, just a little plug for that get creative on how you're selling, because it's fun to see those paychecks. Obviously it's awesome to be on the leaderboard, but at the end of the day, we want you guys making a lot of money, and that's one way to do it.
I think one thing to note with the rookies, Nate has only been out there a very short time. If I'm not mistaken, he actually came out later than April 1st. So he saw something. He wanted to figure out how to maximize those paychecks. So if you're not liking how your paycheck's looking, go hit his door up and say, hey, what'd you figure out? What are you doing? And then go talk to the top financiers in your office. Matt Nugent is in that office. Nate Barbieri is in that office, and some other top financiers. So don't just sit there and wallow in pity and, be content with your paycheck. Go figure out how to fix it.
Yeah. And now that we're coming into May, we also start the company competitions. So in May, we're going to put a blueprint up here. We have the May competition called the Blueprint. it's 4 weeks and you're competing against yourself. So week 1, it's for a shirt. Week 2 is for some shorts. Week 3 is some custom ADT mission belts. And then week 4 is some custom Nike IDs. So every week we'll have the numbers. That starts next week. And then we're rolling into all the company competition. So it makes it fun. The job is way more enjoyable when you're competing. So pick someone on the leaderboard that's ahead of you, someone in your office, and say, hey, I'm going to beat them, and go out and push.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's one thing. Before we get to our weekly pro spotlight, just wanted to take a quick minute and talk about the beginning here. We still have a good amount of rookies that are making their way out to area, and just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about the foundation of the summer, and really what it takes to kind of level up and not just go out there for a paycheck, but just a lot of personal growth. And over the years, 10 plus years now, you see those differences. You see those rookies that come out and they kind of just go through the motion. They're tired at night. We get that. It's late. The first 30 days I can almost consider as like a boot camp. And so you really do have to put in a lot of extra hours that you might not have expected. We tried to prepare for that, but it's almost something you can't prepare for. But realize, Caleb Harris said on one of the YouTube trainings that I just talk about all the time now, and he talked about 75% of your money this summer is going to be made that last 25% of the summer at the very end. So you're going to have to learn how to conduct yourself in a professional manner. There's so many different little intricacies that you're going to have to implement this summer, and it takes time. Brad and I did some math while we were at the airport not too long ago, and we took like 18 weeks and we didn't put a single sale each week over 3. And by the end of it, it was 1, 2, 3, 3, 1, 2, and stuck them in there. And it was 54 accounts, which is a phenomenal first year. You have a lot of our top veterans in the last 5 to 6 years who are producing over 200 accounts that some of them had a 40 and 60 rookie year. That's all they sold their first year, learning how to do this job, and then went on to produce over 150 to 200 accounts. So it really is honing in on the basics and the fundamentals, to prepare yourself to get that money. That money will come. We can promise you that if you will focus on the fundamentals, and the simplicity of this job. Brad, like your rookie year, I don't know if Brad can remember that far back. It was a
It was
few
a long
years
time ago.
What do you remember? Maybe some points where you felt like giving up. You knew you weren't going to, but maybe you kind of felt defeated. What were some of the things that kind of helped you get out of that?
Yeah, no, I don't like admitting this, but my first week I sat on the curb and cried like a little baby, going, I can't do this. I was a newlywed, had no money. I thought I was going to come out and kill it, and it was hard. And I watched a bunch of friends go home. I found this quote earlier today. It says, "You don't need every door to open. You just need to keep knocking until the right ones do." And I think that sums up this job perfectly.
Yeah.
I don't know a single rep that has finished the summer and kept trying that didn't have success. Rep after rep, even the good reps, if you ask them on the side, like, hey, was it hard at the beginning? They're going to say yes. Dan didn't sell for 9 days. And I remember him going, oh, geez, this stinks, but we were like, hey, you'll make it. You're going to be good. I promise you. Just stick with it. If he would have quit, who knows what he'd be doing in life right now? You know what I mean? But like I said, our culture is, hey, it's hard, let's quit. No, you're out here for a reason. Remember why you came, write it down, and say, I'm burning all the ships and I'm going to make this job work. And I promise you, if you do that, at the end, you're going to be very grateful. Not only will you grow as a person and all your financial goals will be met, but what you'll accomplish and the feeling you get when you're done makes it all the worth the while. So we're going to bring in a top first year from last week, Jude Torres. He's at 26 installs already. He sold 12 last week, 10 installs. So we're going to bring him in and just ask his advice, what he might have for some other rookies. So let's bring him in right now.
Let's go to the interview.
Jude Torres, we got the top rookie with us from last week. Jude, introduce yourself. Tell us about the first week on the job, how you heard about it, and then we'll kind of get into what you did last week and how you've been slinging so many accounts. But yeah, let's hear a little bit about your first week here.
Yeah, I'm Jude. From Louisiana, Destrehan, a little outside of New Orleans. Got introduced to Riley, friend of mine. Kind of grew up with him. Kind of saw what was going on with everybody. Had a cool group. Showed me some of the figures. Showed that kind of however much work you put in kind of equates to how much money you're going to make. So that's pretty sweet. That's what kind of got me interested to begin with. And we went on a few blitzes, and it was a pretty cool environment. I enjoyed the actual sales and things like that. Just a big learning curve at the beginning. There's a lot of information to take in, so that was a bit overwhelming at first. But as time went by and kind of watched everyone else and how they functioned and the things that they used and the skills that they had kind of built, made it a lot easier to kind of adapt to the environment, kind of develop a little more personal skills when it comes to communication, interpreting body language. That was a big thing that I started to notice, just watching some of the vets, their facial expressions, as well as how they position themselves with the customer. Definitely changes a lot of the dynamic when it comes to trying to sell somebody something. Makes them feel more comfortable just by your body language kind of matching up with theirs. Did all right on the first two blitzes. I think I did 3 on the first 2. Then we came out here and settling in on the first week. It was a little hectic, but it was really cool. They hooked us up. It's a really sweet place to stay. One of the nicest places I've lived in. Awesome environment. But yeah, the office was cool. We started training. I think I did 4 or 5 installs in my first week. The second week, I think I did 4. And then the last week that we're talking about, one that got me on camera, we did 10. And biggest thing that I think was question-based selling. On one of the vets, Nate, he was talking about question basing, as well as Matt Larson. We did some training with him, and just getting it to where instead of you just like vomiting words at people to where you're the only one talking and telling them everything you're doing, getting some information from them to begin with, figuring out why they would have thought about cameras if they have, as well as how long they've been in the neighborhood. Just building a little more rapport with the customer before you go into your sales. So I think when you come to the door and you're straight to the sales, a lot of times it'll put people off. There's a lot of sales that you could probably get that you won't get through the conversation with because immediately they're thinking salesman. They don't want to deal with it. They don't even want to hear your deal. Sometimes when you get to know them a little bit, build up a little rapport, they hear out your deal. They see that it is something that they're interested in, and then that's where you can move in, transition, things like that. That was just the biggest thing that I've noticed changing myself, was just kind of listening to people more, being a more active listener, being more responsive, building on what they tell me, using the hot buttons that they used as tie downs, kind of coming back to it. And just these little things, they add up. Just like Mike says, incremental improvements, 2-3% a day, you can get to 100% pretty quick.
Awesome. All right, Jude. And then last question for a couple other rookies that year that are out here. It's their first couple of weeks. Maybe they're struggling to get sales. What advice would you give to them?
All the little things help. The training, getting better at the job. But the number one thing that I've found is mindset. Your attitude when you get to the doors, your attitude when you leave the doors. However you do the day before, you can't let that affect your next day. When you get to the doors, you need to almost trick yourself into thinking that you've already had 3-4 deals, because the confidence you have here, it's going to reflect on every conversation that you have. If you come to the door like you've been told no 100 times, most likely you're going to get another no. But if you come to the door like you've set up 7 neighbors already today, people listen a little better.
Amen. Sweet. Thank you, Jude.
Well, I mean, with everything that Jude had said, I think it's, again, just going back to the fundamentals and the basics of what we know and how to do best. So for all you rookies out there, Brian, who we work very closely with at Safe Streets, taught me something a while back, and that is how to eat an elephant. And it's one bite at a time. And so remember that each day, each door, it's one bite. Don't overwhelm yourself with trying to figure out everything. Just stick to the basics like Jude had talked about. And I think you'll go places.
Yeah, and trust the process. Like I said, it is, some sales are just lucky. You're gonna run into someone and they're like, "Oh, we were thinking about getting ADT." Other ones you're gonna scratch and crawl for, but at the end of the day, as long as you just do the process and trust the process and keep working, you're not gonna sell on a bench. And we don't work that many hours, so during those hours, put the time in, give your 100% effort, and it'll happen for you. Till next week, we'll see you guys. Thanks.